Hello Year 10 and welcome to today's lesson on antibiotics and painkillers. I would like you to write down the date, title and LO and try the starter task questions please. So pause the video here and I will continue in 5 seconds. Okay, answers to the starter task. So name 3 ways white blood cells protect the body. So there is phagocytosis, which is where the white blood cell engulfs the pathogen. There is antitoxins that it produces to combat the toxins that the pathogens produce. And there are antibodies which attach to the pathogen and destroy them. What is a vaccine? So a vaccine is a way of getting immunity to a disease where they inject you with a weakened form of the disease so that your body builds up antibodies and resistance to it. Number 3, would you vaccinate someone who has measles using the flu vaccine? Explain why. So no, you wouldn't, because antibodies are very specific to each pathogen. The measles antibody will only destroy the measles pathogens. The flu antibodies will only destroy the flu pathogens. And number 4, why is it useful to vaccinate a large proportion of people? That is because of something called herd immunity. So the more people who are resistant to a disease, then the less people it can infect, and then the less it can spread to other people who aren't resistant. So give yourself a mark out of 4, please. Right, medicine. So some medicines relieve symptoms of a disease while others kill the pathogens. Okay, so can you think of any examples of drugs that relieve symptoms, such as headache or sore throat? Okay, so just something that relieves the symptoms, it doesn't cure it. And the one that most of you probably said is paracetamol, or you've got things like ibuprofen. Okay, and the next one, can you give an example of drugs that kill bacteria? So a lot of you might have said antibiotics or penicillin or something like that. So penicillin is an antibiotic, so you would be correct. Right, so antibiotics, they kill infective bacteria inside the body, and it breaks down the cell wall of the bacteria, but not your own cells. So antibiotics kill bacteria only. They don't kill viruses. So antibiotics kill bacteria. So here's a bacterial cell, here's an antibiotic. And once the antibiotic has gone into your body, it will break the cell wall of the bacteria and the bacteria will die. So antibiotics and viruses. So viruses reproduce inside the cells. It's hard to kill them without damaging the cells of your body at the same time. So here's an example of a cell with viruses inside it. The bacterial cell can't get inside of your cell and kill those without damaging your cell, so that would not be good. We don't want to damage the cells of our body. So antibiotics can kill bacteria because they don't reproduce inside our cells. So the antibiotics can kill the bacteria without harming us. Whereas viruses, because they're inside our cells, the bacteria can't kill them. It would damage us. Okay, so now you are a doctor, and on the next few slides you need to decide what to prescribe to the patients. Your options are prescribe antibiotics, give them paracetamol, call an ambulance, or just send them home. Okay, so if you want to quickly write those 4 options down so that when we go on to the next slides you know what your options are. So pause the video here, write them down, and then we will continue in 5 seconds. Okay, so first one, her name is Veronica. She is 23 years old. She's a dental hygienist. She has a runny nose, tiredness, sneezing, tickly cough, and a headache. So try and think now what you might do, what you might prescribe her. Okay, so she's a dental hygienist. She's around a lot of people's mouths all the time. There is quite a common thing that can pass from person to person that is airborne. Okay, further tests. It is a common cold caused by a virus. So does this change your mind about what you prescribed her? So the correct answer you should have given is give her paracetamol for the headache, or just send her home. Okay, it's just a common cold. It's caused by a virus, so you do not prescribe her antibiotics. Okay, next one. Patrick is 13 years old. He's a student. He has a scabby, pus-filled patch of skin and itchiness and tiredness. So think about what you might prescribe him, and then I will reveal what the further tests are. Okay, further test. Patrick has impetigo. It is a bacterial skin infection. So you might want to change your mind about what you've prescribed Patrick, or you might not want to. The correct answer is that you should give him antibiotics, because antibiotics will cure a bacterial infection. Right, next one. Nisal, he is a construction worker. He has a swollen wrist, soreness, and reduced movement. So think about what you might do for him. Think about his job. Okay, he's picking up heavy things all day. He might have knocked his wrist. Do you think it's caused by a bacteria or a virus or something else? Okay, further tests. An x-ray of Nisel's wrist show that there's no break, it's just a sprain, okay? So he's just sprained his wrist, it's not caused by a virus or bacteria. You would just send him to hospital to get an x-ray for that one. Next one, Letitia is 2. She doesn't have a job because she's 2 years old, and she's got itchy red spots all over her body and she's tired. So think about what you might prescribe to her. Further tests show that Letitia has chickenpox. It is caused by a virus. So again, you do not prescribe antibiotics for Letitia because it is a virus. Antibiotics won't work, and it's very important that we only prescribe antibiotics when they are needed, which we will go through in a later slide. So unfortunately, Letitia is just going to have to be sent home, and her body is just going to have to fight it by itself. Next one, Nigel, he's 59 years old, he's a business manager, he's got chest pain, shortness of breath, shooting pains down his left arm. So he's getting older. He's not old, but he's around that age where you can start to have heart attacks, things like that, especially if he's a business manager, he might be stressed. So for this one, you should call an ambulance. So no antibiotics, no paracetamol or anything, call an ambulance if anyone ever has these symptoms. Okay, Jessica, she is 18, she's a student, she's got a chesty cough, producing bright green mucus, tiredness, fever, shortness of breath. Think about what you might give to her. Okay, further tests show that Jessica has bronchitis. It is a bacterial infection of the lungs. So for this one, you would prescribe antibiotics because it's a bacteria. Right, now what I want you to do is answer these in full sentences, please. So pause the video here and I will continue in 5 seconds. Okay, number 1, what are painkillers used for? So they are used to relieve symptoms of a disease. They don't cure it, they relieve the symptoms. An example is paracetamol. Number 2, what are antibiotics used for? So antibiotics are used to destroy bacterial diseases. An example is penicillin. And explain why antibiotics cannot kill viruses. That is because antibiotics only kill bacteria. They can't kill viruses because viruses reproduce inside our cells, and antibiotics cannot damage the virus without damaging our cells too. So give yourself a mark out of 3, please. Okay, so antibiotic resistance. So here we have our bacteria. So these are all bacteria for the same disease. Okay, there is a reason one is green, but I will go through that reason in a minute. Okay, and here we have our antibiotic. So our antibiotic kills all of the bacteria apart from this green one. Okay, so even though it's the same bacteria as all of these, it has resistance that has been caused by a mutation. So a mutation has happened randomly, as it does. This is the same thing that causes evolution and things like that. Mutations occur all the time, and this one happened to have a mutation that made it resistant to this antibiotic. So all of the other ones die, apart from this one. So then the one that is resistant will reproduce and produce more that are resistant, etc., etc. Okay, so the ones that aren't resistant die off, and now we have a new strain of this bacteria that is resistant to antibiotics. Okay, so the causes of this is overuse of antibiotics, then bacteria mutate, antibiotics kill non-resistant strains, and then resistant bacteria reproduce. Okay, so again, it's just a random mutation that causes this. Obviously, genetics get passed on, so if that one's got resistance, the ones it produces will have resistance. Okay, and it's just random whether this occurs or not. So just like some of you might be allergic to peanuts, some of you might not, that is a mutation that occurred at some point a long time ago. Okay, works the same way with with bacteria, but bacteria can produce very rapidly. Okay, so resistance can build up really rapidly, so it's important that we don't overuse antibiotics. Okay, I want you to answer this question in your book, please. So, all patients should be given antibiotics instead of vaccines. Do you support this statement? And write a clear argument for your answer. I know that right isn't spelt correctly. I do apologise for that. I will correct that now. So, I want you to say whether you agree with it, and I want you to say why, and then I want you to submit your answer to that question on Show My Homework, please. Okay, that is the end of today's lesson. I hope you all have a wonderful day.